Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, dear brother and sister. So tonight, usually on Wednesday night, we study the Dhammapada Sutta. But tonight we have special guest, our brother Thai Phong from he's the abbot of one of the monastery in the North Carolina. So he come here for our invitation to attend and conduct the 3 days retreat that start this Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So and then he here with us tonight. So I would like to invite him to come and to join with us. And I invite him tonight to give him a talk to you, sharing his practice. So he's been a monk quite long, and he practiced meditation. And before he become a monk, he very well a successful businessman in the United States. But he quit everything and to choose his life a freedom. So I'm very proud of him, one of our little brother. so please thank you, Thầy.
Yes.
So okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thầy.
Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude, the abbots, my elder brothers, the abbot, for having me here. It is an honor to be here, and it's unusual for me to talk to an elder group. To be honest with you, I hold many retreats across the country for the youth. My specialty is for the younger generation, because I think they really in need of that attention. And the adult, there's so many already, but today's is slightly special. So thank you for having me. First of all, I know it's the holidays, and especially July 4th is one of the American big holidays, but you choose to be here and giving me your precious time. So thank you for very much. That show your gratitude and dedication. So thank you. Today's topics, I'd like to share with you a topic that I think is crucial, and it is very important in today's society with all the attachment, with all the distraction, to be honest with you. The title would be, have you ever heard the term parasocial relationship? Parasocial relationship. It is, this topic has been, many researchers, scientists have researched in the 50s, but it was not well known because of the technologies that we have. But as the technology increase and it's getting really a lot more popular, especially with the social media, with all the new technology, the invention, and now AI is coming. So that's the issues that the younger generation are facing. They have the tendency to develop a relationship with someone, something, or a group, perhaps, a social media or an influencer in some way online, and they have the tendency to develop, and they have to develop this sense of belonging. They need to belong to something. And to be frank, I found out that not only a younger generation, many of the adults are victims as well. And that is an issue that we are facing. For instance, as you know, today, in today's society, when is the last time, if you really look back, that you actually sit down with your family having a decent dinner with a conversation face to face. It's becoming rare and rare nowadays. If you go into a restaurant, for instance, you will see, they would try to keep that tradition. The family try to eat together, but they all have their own world, right? The parents or the younger kids, the younger generation have the tendency to be focusing on, either phone or tablets or some sort of, device. And that is the, becoming an issue. And that's what we found across the country with many of the youth. Many of the parents that come up to us and said, my son, who is 25, graduated college, and yet he's still home playing video games. And it's not just one or two incidents. It's happened more and more often around the world. And we've seen that happening a lot. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to emphasize on that issues. Now, let me go back a little bit. Let me introduce to you a little bit of my background. Like the Venerable have said, prior to me becoming a monk, I came to the U.S. when I was about 11 or 12 years old. And just like any of the kids, I went to school, graduated college, and become an IT. And I was pretty successful, I would say. And but my nature, my calling of becoming a monk always has been since I was little. I always wanted to I know that I wanted to lead a monk life. But before I take that initiatively to detach everything, I want to try everything. I want to lead an American dream world, so that if one day I become a monk, I won't regret. So that's what I did. I pretty much went to college and went to work for a few years to get experience, and was pretty successful. I would say happy. I have a great life. So as you know, coming from an IT background, I know all about technology. To be frank, I was at the time when computer was booming in the late 90s, late 80s and early 90s. That's when everything was beginning to boom. Back then, I remember, American Online. Do you remember American Online? Yes. It was so popular back then, American Online, and then IRC, Internet Relay Chat. It went through all that stage, and now we just so many. But the important things about technologies you have to understand is we create technology. The sole purpose is to what? To make people's life simpler, easier, to connect people. Am I correct? Right? To connect people around the world. And that's what was social media and the telecom and communication. That was what it was for. But through that process, you can see the after effect that we have now. I have kids in my youth retreat, and they said that at night, a lot of them text their parents good night, because the kids would be up, in the second floor, and the parents is often on the first floor, and they would say, good night, mom, good night, dad. Yes, from a perspective, there's still a communication, but I ask them, is it the same as when you come up to your mom and said, Mom, good night? And they all agreed it's not the same, right? Even though, yes, the tool that we use is the communication, it's help, like what we are doing right now, live stream, to help people around the world or other people could benefit. But it's a dual blade knife, and that could cut you either way. And that is the most dangerous things. So to me, I think technology, I have no doubt, is beneficial. It saves so many lives. If you're talking about the tool that we invent today, it saves so many lives. But on the contrary, it's also could damage so many lives as well. The younger generation today have the tendency to isolate themselves, building this relationship, a sense of belonging. They want to belong to a certain chat group, a certain group fan that they wanted to belong to, a video that they post that they want to get clarification or a confirmation from people by the like, and that this is what they constantly looking forward, and it's all on virtual. I mean, it's people we think it's real. They think it's real. Yet people argue, yeah, but I make money out of it. People make billion or million out of these, influencer and all of these technologies. Yes, I agreed. It's not denying it that what we invent is also benefit to us. And the younger generation have the tendency to look outward. And in the Buddha house, what do we learn? Thank you. We look in. We're looking back inside ourselves. It's the contrary. We often looking outward. I'm doing this for other people. I'm doing this for other, but they forgot about themselves. The sole purpose of a Zen practitioner. What is that? You just said. The sole purpose of a Zen practitioner is to reflect within, right? It's to look back within, to love one ourselves. In the Buddha, in the practice of Buddhism, in order to help other people or to be beneficial to other people, who do you most benefit? Yourself. The Buddha, 2,600 years ago, over 2,600 years ago, he was never saying, I'm going to be awakened and I'm going to go help all the people. That's my goal. That was not his goal, right? He was solely purpose to find an answer for himself, right? To find an answer of this samsara, of this suffering for himself. So the loving is for himself first. I like one of these saying, or actually it's written in the Bible. I'm not sure if you learned about the Bible, but I do read it a little bit, and just to learn. I went to 2 years in Baptist just to learn other people's religion. And I know in Catholic, one of the thing, the saying in the Bible is that, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor like thyself." Like basically, you should love your neighbor like you love yourself, right?
You don't love yourself.
Right? The key words here that I think is so profound is in that word. What do you think?
Love yourself first.
I'm sorry?
Love yourself first.
Love yourself first, okay.
And then you can love your neighbors.
Love yourself. Actually, no. The saying was, it didn't say love yourself first, then love your neighbor.
Love your neighbor. What's in the Bible say? Love your neighbors first,
As yourself.
like yourself.
Right, or like.
Yeah.
The word like or as. Meaning, like or as is the same as equal. Yourself is, is equally important. I'd like to share with you a story. In the Thai tradition, there is a forest monk. In the Thai tradition, they normally practice and practice in the forest. So there is this group of monks, and there are 7 monks that practice in a very seclusive cave. There's 7 monks. So the first monk is a very wise monk. The second monk is a brother of the wise monk. The third monk is a monk who's aging, he's old. The fourth monk is a very sick monk. The fifth monk is a very lazy monk. He just eat and sleep. The sixth monk is a monk that is constantly contradicting with the rest of the other monk. He's always in conflict. And the last monk is just basically a regular, normal, neutral monk. So these monks practicing in this cave, and one day there's a group of a bandit that they came to the cave, and they say, "Oh, this cave, this is an ideal cave for them to do a hideout," and they want to take over the cave, but these 7 monks are here, so they was going to kill all of them. They said, let's just get rid of all of them. But fortunately, the wise monk was very wise, and he convinced them. And finally, the head of the bandit said, "Fine, we won't kill any of you, but one have to, because we have to set example, because that would be you if you go out and tell our hideout, And so they said, well, pick one. Who would you pick? Out of the 7 monks. They say, well, one have to die. One have to die. The old one. Yeah, he's old, right?
He's old.
He's gonna die anyway, right?
The lazy one.
The lazy one. The one that doesn't do anything. The one that couldn't barely wear a proper rope, right? He's too lazy. Let's get rid of him. If you in that situation, who would you pick? It's a dilemma, right? Sometime in our life, we are at the same spot, at a dilemma where we don't know where to turn. We don't know what to do. So, what would you two pick?
Well, I think something like that, it affects everybody, and it wouldn't be up to one person.
Or they could vote, right?
You mean suppose we are one of those monks?
Yes.
Oh, I want to be a good person. Pick me then.
Sacrifice. I asked that same story, and many of the youth seem to think Many of them say, well, maybe the head of the monk, the wise one, he should be sacrificed because he's the leader, right? Well, this is what happened. Because this monk is very, very wise. And after hearing that said, one of them have to die, and they thought it for a while, and he came up to the head of the bandit, and this is what he said. He said, in my eyes, I love you as much as I love all of my brothers here. So I cannot choose. The key words were he was very sincere, and he said, in my eyes, I love you. Meaning the head of the bandits who wanted to kill him, but in his eyes, he had no discrimination whatsoever. He still loved the head of the bandit the same, as much as he loved all of his brother. He did not like, anybody less because he's lazy. He did not like to sacrifice himself because his body is extremely important to cultivate, to be awakened. He didn't like him anything less than anybody else. But the key was that move, the head of the bandit was, in my eyes, I love you the same as I love all of my brothers. And that's what moved the head of the bandits, and they become his disciple and practice under his guidance. And because it was just so moved, he said, here I am, somebody who wants to kill you, but yet you love me the same as much as all of your brother. And that is the key element. That's what's the point that I brought into, is that don't forget, yourself is as important. Some people may say, oh, maybe he should sacrifice himself. It's not a heroic thing to do, but use your wisdom to overcome a situation like that. Because as the Buddha taught us, our body is extremely, extremely important. It's a rare opportunity for us to be able to possess this body. We use that to attain liberation or awaken, right? So it is very important, and that's what we must use it for. So we don't love ourselves anything less. But yes, that is the norm, basically, in our Buddha teaching. We have to love ourselves, and that is very important. Sometime in our life, when we are cornered, we may think that, we are worthless. Sometimes we, like for instance, younger generation, when they posting something online, they need validation from the public. They need a confirmation from the public that they did something right or something good. No, you don't. The only thing you need validation is to who? To yourself. To yourself. Absolutely right. The only validation you need is to yourself. Am I honest to myself? Am I true to myself? Am I happy with myself? Myself. I don't need your confirmation. I don't need your validation. You have all that in here, that confidence. And that is what we should cultivate, you know. And in many of the retreat that I held, the younger generation, many of them have lost directions. You know, they lack confidence, their self-esteem is lack, and that is what we want to build in our retreat, is to build, to give them that confirmation within themselves. I could not do it. The parents could not do it. None of the people around the world, maybe temporarily, but the ultimate person or individual, the strong one, is us, is you, you know. And we need to cultivate that, to find that strength that we have. But that strength is also what we would call in the Buddha house, the Buddha nature. The Buddha nature, the wisdom. You know, that's what we need to cultivate. How long do we normally have this class?
Usually around 8:30, I guess.
8:30?
It's not. It seems like sometimes it's 9 o'clock. You know, sometimes.
Oh,
it's,
so it's not a concrete time. We play it by ears. Is that what it is? Well, we have, if it was 8:30, we have about 5 or 7 minutes. I still have a lot to share with you, but I can leave some time for Q&A if that is what you think. Question and answer?
That's a good idea. It's always helpful to.
Yeah, sometime, all these time that you practice, you know, all these time that you practice under the master, what's come across your mind? What is your experience? What's going on with your mind? I mean, what's the purpose of meditation?
What's the purpose? To finally find wisdom.
To find wisdom. Okay.
Well, like, I've read a book about teaching meditation, and meditation eventually can help you, finally you will look into your mind, and then you find the wisdom in yourself, like eventually, basically it can like wake up the Buddhahood in yourself. But I mean, how long you have to practice to be able to like, I don't know. Sometimes I meditate and I'm like, where am I going from here? I just started. Like, I mean, you know, I'm from Thailand, and Thai people are basically born Buddhist.
Oh yeah.
90% of us don't really practice or really know exactly what the Buddha taught. So yeah, the meditation I really just started basically 6 months ago. And I'm 52 actually. And then, so yeah, I grew up as a Buddhist person. It's kind of like never really practice the way a Buddhist person should.
Do you practice religiously at home? Like 5 or 10 minutes a day, a week?
No, like now? Yeah, I just like try to meditate every night before I go to bed.
Well, in practice meditation, as you definitely aware, there's no concrete time frames per se, 5 years, 10 years, because we all have different backgrounds, we all have different experience. So there's no concrete times. But to talking about the experience that you just shared, even I myself, there are days, back in Vietnam when we was in the monastery, we sit about 6 hours a day, which is divided 3 sessions. Each session is about two hours. One is at 7:30, one is at 3:30 in the morning, and one is 2:30 in the afternoon. That depending on the days. And I'll be frank with you, the first few years, I ask myself that often. I say, what the purpose of sitting here? What am I doing here? As you knew, I came from, the U.S., where it's drastically different. I was pretty well off. I was okay. I was, monetary and, everything possession is like there. Back in the monastery, everything was limited. We have 3 outfits. We only have 2 meals a day. One is early in the morning, and one is at 11:30 in the afternoon. That's it. So it was a huge life-changing turning point for me. But because it was that I was very dedicated to it. So our body take time. It, like the American have said, no pain, no gain, right? So it does take time for your body to adjust. At first, I had my back aches, my leg hurts. There was a time I feel like I couldn't breathe because it was so much pain. Sometimes my body is numb all the way from waist down. So it takes time, but guarantee you, all of our Grandmaster, he had thousands of disciples or people, and nobody has ever hurt themselves physically through sitting meditation. So all these pain, all these numbness that you felt, it's a temporary process, and it's just your body making changes. So, but it takes at least 3 years, roughly, for me to adjust. It's not an easy thing, and I guarantee you, meditation is not an easy path. However, in the Western lives, you don't have to be to an extreme like many of us in the back home in Vietnam. It's okay to ease yourself in, and ultimately, it's the cultivation of the mind. Obviously, that's the mind that is the most crucial. To ask that question, when you sit in meditation and you say, okay, what am I doing? What am I sitting for? You see, your mind playing trick on you. Even that question is the same as the erroneous thoughts. And people, so there are times I said, okay, so how many years I'm gonna, take me to practice? In the Buddha house, in the Zen house, there is a funny, a true story though. There is a practitioner, a Zen disciple. He came up to one of his master and said, "Master, I am determined to practice Buddhism, and specifically meditation. I will dedicate myself. I will sit and 6 hours or even more, however you acquire. I will dedicate myself. But Master, could you tell me how many years would that take me to acquire awakening?" And the Master said, "You, maybe 10 years. And The disciple said, 10 years. But Master, I will work hard. I will work harder. I will dedicate myself. I devoted. I would sit. I would chant. I would do more than what you ask for. If that's the case, then how many years, Master?
15 years.
He said 20 years.
Added to 20 years.
Yes, add another 10. So you see, right there, when we're talking about that, that's the cultivation of the mind. The expectation. If you come in here, sitting on this cushion, and you have an expectation, I'm going to sit today, and I'm going to feel blissful. I'm going to have a good sitting. That's right there, my friends. Will give you disappointment.
So just focus on your breath in and out, in and out.
First initial stage, yes. First initial stage is the breathing, yes. But after you are good or well on your way of practice, we begin to cultivate or focusing on our thoughts.
So you can see your thought?
You don't really see your thought. Be careful, because you're just aware of your thoughts. There's a difference. Okay. This is when a lot of people may be making a mistake, is compressing or refrain from thinking. No. Sitting meditation is not refraining from your thinking or cessations of your thoughts. No, it's not. It's being aware of your thoughts. It's just like being aware of your breath, your thinking, or your breathing, your breathing. It's just aware. A lot of people, when we say just be aware of your breathing, they have the tendency to control your breathing, to make it long, to make it short, to control it. Your breathing will breathe naturally. So just let it breathe. Don't control it. Yes.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So if Buddhism is geared towards non-attachment, how do you balance that with like loving yourself in a Buddhist way versus like not being attached to yourself and your ego?
Excellent. Sometimes we're in a dilemma. In practicing, we're in a dilemma many times. I will get to your answer. For instance, compassion. Monks talk about compassion. But when you walk out of this door and out on the street, you see a beggar, which is often a lot in California, and you see them, and many of them have the tendency to be drugs abusive and alcoholic or whatever. What do? Right? Should I give it to them? But if I don't, am I being compassionate? These are the kind of reality, right? A dilemma. So yes, you're absolutely right. It is very difficult. I will give you an example as far as detachment, so that you know it is something that you have to reflect back within yourself. Is the term when is enough? Only you can identify when is enough, right? For me, could be, let's just say, 3 outfits is enough. For you, 3 outfits. But if you really look back at yourself, you will have an answer. The only thing is often we neglect to. I give you a picture that the Dalai Lama is giving a great example. He said, in this life, often we attach to things. Imagine yourself in your hand that you hold something is precious. And in your hand, it could be a diamond, if that's what you are desire. It could be an individual, or loved ones, that is in your hand. You hold it in your hand. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a child, it could be anything precious in your hand. He said, yes, you can hold it. You can possess this. But the moment you hold on to it like this, that will definitely inquire suffering. So how do we go about not being sufferer? The moment you hold this is possession. He said you can hold it, you can use it, you can utilize it. It's still in your hand, but hold it like this. Because if anything happened, it can easily let go. And this is the same thing with your loved ones. I know it's very hard, but that's why within this hand that you still grasp, you still treasure it. You know, it's not like you yanking it, you abuse it. You're still holding it. You still treasure it. You still appreciate it. But always hold it like this. Don't hold it like that. Because suffering, the moment suffering, that will arise. Meaning possession. And this is how you test it. Attachment. Years ago, when I was back in the day, when I was in the working field, I possessed a lot of suit to go to my office, and I had many shoes, like most people. And I remember that every morning I have to stand in the front of my closet to pick maybe that shirt, go with that pants, go with that tie, maybe go with that shoe. You have to stay there at least 15, 20 seconds. You see, these are the time. To me, that's suffering. That's just tiresome. And I'm just talking one small incident, small possession. We're talking about car, a bunch of other things nowadays. And many of it's even a channel that somebody create. A room, oh, that's my room. That's my, it's all virtual. But yet, we attach, and that's what suffering. Eventually, I cultivate and I say, and that, just imagine that 10, 15 seconds just for that small incident. And then there was a bunch of other things in our life that we have to take time to make the decision.
So, you still have to take care of yourself and your body, but you're just you're aware that you're impermanent, right? So
is to a point where is balance, and it's very hard to do that. I'm not saying it is easy. Just like the Buddha teach. What is one of the first lessons that the Buddha teach us? Did you learn? Do you remember?
The first
one of his very first lesson that he taught after he's become awakened, that was his first lesson. The Eightfold Path, but one of the elements in there.
you stay in the middle way.
The middle way, yes. The middle way, the middle path is one of his very first teaching. Extremely important. that is came from the Theravada practice. The Thai tradition, they practice that a lot. One of his teaching, and it's simple. People often overlook. We have the tendency to go either one extreme or to the other, and we've never in the middle path. And that is when suffering arises. The same thing with what you were asking. When do I attach? Well, when you are happy with what you have, that's when you are in the middle path. Whether to other people, it may seem very little, or it may seem a lot, but to you, is what important. So if you are satisfied with your current situation, however that may be, you are practicing the middle path. Yes. Yes. The moment we want incremental more of these possession.
Yes, human nature, you always like want more.
But that's what's incurring suffering, right? That's what incurring suffering. And one of the slogan, or one of the themes that I always live by is, the less you want, the happier you be. That is one of my slogans. The less you want, the happier you be. Easier said than done, right? But that's the middle path. Because in this life, we always want more, more, and more, right? So does that answer your question? The middle. You see, so it is okay to possess. It is okay to have a vacation you deserve. It is okay to have this and that. But knowing that when is enough, which is maybe, maybe 1 vacation, that's enough for me, you know. But if you feel like, I want more, I want more, I want more, that's when you know you are in the other extreme. Right? And then that is extremly important. Because this is the practice that is realistic with our life, our daily life. The less clutter you have in your life, and I'm talking about not just thoughts, clutter as in things in your house. The less it is, the less your mind will be more clear and your conscience. For instance, very simple, scientifically, nothing out of this world. If you walk into a house where you have so much possession, you bought so much shopping, so much outfit, things you haven't even opened, or you walk into a house where that is barely anything in there. Which house that have more thoughts, or set more light? Obviously, the house with so many things in it, the lights got stuck, right? If you set a light, it got blocked by all of these possessions, right? But the house that is empty, the light go out. That's your wisdom. So, simplify your life, whether it's thoughts or it's materialistic things. That's what it is. You're welcome. Any others question? It's
Could
15
probably
to
go
9.
a long time asking questions.
Yes. Anything else?
Also, like one more question.
Sure.
Like when you meditate, how do we know? Like sometimes I feel like, am I really in a deep concentration or am I sleeping? But I know I'm breathing. I can feel that I'm breathing in and out. And the technique I learned from Thailand is just I recite put in, toe out, and that's what I've been doing. And I can recite that, but I just feel like, am I sleeping too? But at the same time, because it's just so empty. Like
Yeah.
there's no thought or nothing. I just like.
Well,
sleeping. So I don't know if I'm sleeping or I'm.
Well, if sometime you feel you're about to doze off, just sit back, straight up, and reconcentrate and take deep breath and open your eyes wide. Because sitting meditation, you have to be fully conscious, not half awake and half sleeping, because that doesn't help you anything. That doesn't help you in your cultivation. So yes, being fully mindful, fully aware of the sound of the six senses that you are aware of. You may hear something, you may smell something, you may see something, fully aware, but not running after it, not to combine yourself or be with it. And that's is some. Don't worry about what come after next. That's what the most of the people are having problem. They stuck at the point where they say, okay, so my mind is calm. What come after that? Because that thought itself, you will never attain what come after. So that's just let it go. Even that thought's not important, right? Just let it go. And the experience that you will see will come naturally. And you will see. You will have your answer. So don't worry. Even that thoughts, that desire to say, oh, it's okay, so what am I sitting here for? What am I, what come after? What is after? What is, nirvana? What is this and that? Don't, it's just still thoughts. Because his stage of meditation will be different from yours and different from mine. We have different stages, different experience, not the same. Okay, so let all that thoughts go. It's not important. Okay?
So, like, kind of like I'm aware that I'm breathing in and out, and
Continue doing that.
I'm breathing in.
Fully aware that you are breathing in and breathing out.
And
Yep.
then I'll do like focus on sometime, like basically like the third eye, the middle of the eyebrows, or focus on the body, like try to like focus from the back of the head down to the spine, the leg, or just. But sometimes I think maybe I do so too.
Well, see, I know in Theravada they use the body as the point of contemplation. I would not recommend you to contemplate on your forehead because that's going to give you headaches in the long term if you're not careful. I would just be focusing on your breathing. And I know Theravada, they do use breathing as the main focus, one of their element in their practice. So just go back to your breathing, being fully aware of it. Some people, they use a candle. Some people, they use a fork, in front of your nose, some use the forehead. To us, we don't recommend it because if you're not careful, you may damage, you may hurt yourself. For us, it's just the breathing. Just go back to your chord of breathing. Doesn't matter if you're Theravada, Mahayana, any tradition, Zen, the same way. The breathing is the most important.
Focus on the breath in and out.
Yep. Be fully aware. Just fully aware of it. Be cautious, but don't control it, like I said earlier. Okay? So,
Thank you.
we good? Thank you.
Thank you, Thầy. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. So, I enjoy your talk. So, in future, I tend to invite Thầy Phong more often to come to our. But this weekend, like I mentioned before, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he'll be here with us. Yeah. So, you invite to come join the retreat with the kid. Say the kid, but usually from 10 to 30 years old, include Papa. then we do have the class for the parents, and so you're welcome during that time. Okay, so thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. Namaskar.
Let me say anything about before we go. Yeah. The living beings are numberable. I vow to seize them all. The afflictions are endless. I vow to eradicate them all. The Dharma doors are uncountable. I vow to study them all. The Buddha way is unself. I vow to attain it. I vow that the merit and the pursuit of this will go everywhere and reach everyone, so that all of us